Hello, and welcome back to Lost Story Time. Uh, it's a nasty day outside here, um, so this one's probably gonna be quick. Um, if you hear water dropping in the background, we just had a window replaced, and apparently they didn't seal it all the way. So once it dries up, I'm gonna have to go seal that window, and that's what that noise is in the background. If you hear scratching, there's a dog sitting behind me. She's terrified of rain, so she's just chilling. Today, what we're gonna do is something different than most other weeks. I was going through my list of stories, and they're mostly terrible. I mean, that's the point of the podcast, right? Is to come up with bad ideas that I'll never write and then talk about them. But I don't feel like that today, so instead, we're gonna talk about a project that I'm going to actively start working on either today or tomorrow. I have the outline, and I figured we go through it, make this a quick episode on a gloomy day, and knock it out. So I'll let you guys know how it goes as it goes uh, on the channel this month. It should be this, and then probably a crash commercials, and then a another podcast. Then a clock can't sing. I think that's the schedule now, but kind of how I'm feeling on the day. So let's just crack into this, knock this out. I'm gonna check my levels. It looks good in the yellow. I know it was quiet last time, but I don't know. It's been a year and I still can't get this mixing thing down. So I probably never will. I excuse me. I should just buy a USB one, plug it straight in, not worry about it. But I have the mixer. We bought the mixer. It was expensive, and so I want to use it. And I'm not very good at it, and it feels like I get worse every time. So that's just how it goes. So this is a story. It's called Grown Up Emo Kids, and it's about these kids who are emo now they're grown up. So it's four friends from high school who are all emo, and they played a band together. And it's Jessie. She's married to Max. They listen to emo music, but they go to concerts. She she was never too much in the scene as a kid. She just liked the music, and she plays the bass. And there's Max, who is married to Jesse. He also listens to emo music. He didn't really get into the emo scene, wore the shirts, went to the concert, and he plays guitar. And they still attend concerts, fairly regularly, but they were never the scene kids. So Robert is not married, and he's best friends with Adam. He still listens to emo music, but he's embarrassed about it. He's very embarrassed about how he was in high school because he was very into the emo scene. Long hair, lip rings, other stupid things. Uh, huh. But now he's a dentist or a chiropractor, some one of those like I don't want to say borderline doctors, but they're not doctors. Um, yeah. So he's one of those, one of the funny doctor professions or some other type of professional, architect, something that's when you go to a party and you tell them like, "Hey, I'm a artist," and then like, "Let me see your art," and they're like, "I'm a guitarist," and like, no, never mind, never mind. I thought you painted. You know, what do you do? I'm a writer. Oh, what have you written? I've written a bunch. Anything I've heard of? No, no, not at all. So he's one of those, just a boring IT writer. Who knows? And then Adam is not married and not looking. He's a player's player. Where the players play. Some that wasn't. He's what a pimp. I don't know. He's cool. He likes the ladies and he's successful with the ladies, ish, I guess. And then he's best friends with Robert. They were friends since high school because they love emo music. and he was also very into the scene, and he still is. He's unashamed and into it. He goes to the concerts. He's hanging out with the teenagers. Uh, he works trivial jobs, but he always seems to have money, and he's always getting weed. He's always going to concerts, and he's everybody knows the guy. They're like, you don't have a job. How do you have this stuff? Like, how are you paying for your apartment? That's Adam. He still rocks the emo looks. He sings and plays guitar. There's one other character, Karen. She works with Adam, or has a crush on Adam. I think they work together. I haven't really came there yet. And she is also really into emo, but doesn't tell anyone. So the group hang out. They're still friends. They hung out in high school. They still hang out, and they don't really talk about raging against the machine anymore, or how their parents just don't understand. Will Smith, throw it back. So they're too old for teenage angst, but they talk about like life and stuff like that when they get together. And so we're gonna go through the running outline. It's not complete yet, but it's getting there. This will feel like those that know me. It'll feel kind of familiar, but it's nobody. It's nobody that anybody knows. These are made up people. They're not based on any. I mean, the scenarios are kind of based on people, but it's not based on anybody. So the running outline. Each person's gonna have their own intro, and if you've seen Scott Pilgrim versus the World, the graphics pop up on a screen like a video game. It's very nifty. So it's gonna have that kind of that radical. If you played Sunset Overdrive, the way that they do it, same sort of thing. It's radical PNG on the screen that pops up. Radical. So it's popping up, and they're talking about marriage and kids, politics, the collapse of the entire world, bees. Um, how Central Park's closing, or Middle Park. They don't live in New York. Middle Park. So then after that, it's just kind of an introduction. They're all just having fun, cookout, having a good time, and just sitting around talking with some good old fashioned emo music playing. So after that, it goes on the daily activities. Hey, good night, good night, good night. Wake up next morning, and we start with Robert. So again, Robert's the one who he likes emo, but he's embarrassed. So Robert's quickly cutting off the radio. Right now, it's a Magic Romance song. These are all suggestions, licensing. I don't know how that works. I've never actually sold a movie. So he's playing like Magic Romance, and then Karen walks in, so he turns it off real quick. They talk. The audience knows that she's flirting, but Adam has no clue. And so, it's just a little awkward, cute conversation after turning off the emo music. And then cuts to Max. Max is Jesse's husband. So he's listening to Boys Night Out, delivering charcoal and charcoal accessories. I've been rewatching King of the Hill, and I just thought that would be funny if he was a charcoal delivery guy. That's it. Something like charcoal is black like my soul and burns like my desire. Yep. So Jessie is she works at a lawyer's office. It's Max's wife, and she's listening to Dashboard Confessional and listening and singing, and she's researching some legal something or another. And a librarian comes over and shushes her, and Jessie doesn't appreciate it, and so Jessie goes off on the librarian, talking about how she can get this done. And this isn't a public library. This is like the lawyer's library. And so she's talking about cases or whatever she's doing, how it's important. She can't do it without listening to music, and she can't listen to music without singing. Adam is just in his red room. He's playing video games and he's listening to Taking Back Sunday very, very loudly. And the other video game players online start calling him a pussy for listening to emo music. And he basically fights with 14-year-old delinquents who are at home from school. So there we go. There's everybody in a nutshell. Now here's kind of the plot. We're gonna follow Robert in a kind of a secret agent way, right? Secret agent music. He's sneaking. He pulls in to a storage facility. Sun's going down, and he pulls in, gets out of the car, locks it, makes sure he's not followed, pops his license plate back on. Very very deep throat kind of situation, and so then he gets to this one storage shed, and the door comes open, and there's Adam, and Adam has a guitar in his hand. And he's like, "Hey, you're late," and so Robert explains that he had to sneak out. He didn't want anybody to see him, and so then Adam tries. I got this wrong, but Adam tries to get Robert to come to a concert. So he's going to a concert that night, or he tries to get him to come to a concert some other night, and he cannot convince him because it's a work night. But the two still have a jam session, so they're playing music. Adam plays the drums, and I got it backwards now. Robert plays the drums. He's the nervous one. Adam plays the guitar. He's the guitarist singer. So then from there, Adam goes to the concert, and he's the oldest by far. He when he's at the gate, they're like, "Hey, performer's coming back," because he's so old. They just assume that he's not there with the rest of the teenagers to be at the concert, so they try to send him to the back. And the line is, "After all, no one would be that angsty. No one that old would be that angsty." So he does. He goes on stage. He grabs an acoustic from somebody, and he just he performs a song that he wrote, and they don't like it. he, this guy who they didn't come see starts playing, and they don't like it. So I think this might be later. I don't think it's the same night. So later, Robert shows up at Jesse and Max. Those are the married couple. Robert's the one who is nervous, and Robert says Adam said they need to meet at Jesse and Max's house for an emergency. After a little bit, Adam shows up and he's pissed. He tells everyone emo is dead and they need to get the band back together to save it. Everyone laughs and says no. So Adam goes on for a minute and he pouts. Let's go with pouts. And so everyone agrees. All right, we'll pull our instruments out and we'll play. Like we'll just have a good time. Or they don't do it that night. They agree to go to the storage place to do a band practice. That's how they placate them. But they're not starting a band. They're very clear. We're not starting a band. We'll go play with you, but that's it. We're not getting back together. So then they're in the storage area and they have band practice, and it's not great. They haven't played together in, I don't know, 15 years, 10, 20, I don't know. So they get back to Jesse's car, or Jesse and Max go to leave, and Jesse's like, "I really enjoyed that," and then they both look out the window contemplatingly. I tend to. What does this mean for us? How can we handle this? So Robert is playing he's playing his drums all the way on his steering wheel, all the way home, and when he gets into his neighborhood, he changes the station. Turns out the emo music, puts on the country, and then Adam just it cuts back to Adam. He hasn't moved. He's still at the storage unit. He just has a big smile on his face because he knows how much they enjoyed it. So Max calls Adam later on that night on speakerphone, and Adam puts Robert onto the call, and Max is like, "Hey, they would like to come and do that again. They want to start playing again on occasion, but we're not a band." So the group keep practicing, and they start to sound good, and they're playing covers exclusively, and then they start writing their own music. And then one time, Adam suggests they all go out to dinner. So they all go to dinner, and Adam starts. He's like, "I know we're not a band, but would you guys play with me on stage?" And I'm like, "No, no, 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 no." Robert's horrified by the idea, and Max points out they're not a band, and they don't have a name. So they start to discuss group names, and this I think is going to be fun to write. But right now I have Razor Blade and the Cutters, Bassinet of Garbage, Speak Nothing, Get Money, Get Bitches. By the end of dinner, Adam has convinced them. They start talking about band names, and they're flowing and they're thinking of funny names and how fun it would be. And by the end of dinner, he's convinced them that they should go and have a concert. And so they do. And they go to the concert, and everybody's having a good time. And they start making fun of the scene kids there. They're on stage, and it's still the kids that they were. And now they realize how ridiculous it is. And, they have this song that's written by old people for teenagers to angst to. And so they, at the concert, it's like a local, it's like not a battle of the bands, just kind of like a local show. And they're the only ones there who are old enough to drink. So the bartender tells them that they won't make any money for it. And so what they do is they decide that they're going to help this bartender make up for the profits he lost. And they get drunk. And so they get an Uber back to Adams, and they keep partying. And they wake up the next morning. No one says anything. Jesse turns. I don't know why I said they don't say anything. Well, they leave. They don't say anything and leave. Jesse turns to Max and says, "Did we agree being in the band?" Max has a horrified look on his face. He turns to Jesse. He nods slowly. "We can't do that, can we?" They contemplate. Again, this is a very contemplating couple. So Robert wakes up and he's late for work. He tries to wake Adam up, but Adam won't wake up. So he runs into the office and he's panicked. He asks Karen how many patients he missed. She tells him none and asks him about last night. He lies and says he just stayed home. Cut back to the bar, and we see Karen in shock as she is working at the club. She's not the bartender, but she is there and she sees Adam. So yeah, I guess they do work together. So then they cut back to the rehearsal space and they're playing, all very unenthusiastic, except Adam, who is crazy that they got the band back together. And he's talking about upcoming shows. None scheduled. He's talking about how many shows they're gonna do and where they're gonna travel to and how they're gonna be a huge band. And at the end of practice, everyone's like, "Hey, it's fun just playing, but we don't want to do any more shows. We don't want to be a band. We don't want to tour. We're good with where we're at. You have the free time, but we're working. We're big kids. We're grown up emo kids now." So the middle ground they decide to come up to is they create a YouTube channel for their music, grown up emo kids channel, and the YouTube channel gets big. That's where I'm at. So there's got to be some sort of falling out. Nothing serious though because it's comedy. You don't want to throw in some like weird stuff like I don't know, someone dying or something. So that's what I got so far. I'm gonna get it started. I'll probably let you guys know as it's going. Uh, we've been going for 20 minutes. I think that's perfect time to wrap it up. So until next time, uh, keep writing.